is they use the fact that you served your country against you for a CCW?
Anybody that's taken a psych eval and has served their country, those questions are kind of geared against you. So my name is Wyatt. I currently live in Orange County, California. I'm originally from Minnesota, but I moved out here after I got out of the Army a few years ago. And currently, I am involved in a lawsuit ongoing with Orange County Sheriff's Department over a concealed weapons permit denial when I previously had one before.
So essentially, you had your weapons permit. Has anything changed? Is there any sort of real reason why you got denied, or were they just like, denied?
So I have a security guard card and an exposed firearm permit with that security license, and that's ran through the state. That's ran through Bureau of Security Investigative Services. And in the state of California, concealed weapons permits are issued through the county. I've been armed for the last 10 plus years to include the military. I had a concealed weapons permit from another county, and then I moved to Orange County, reapplied, got approved, and then I had that permit revoked and suspended and then revoked due to a domestic violence allegation. The DA dismissed that or rejected that allegation, and I reapplied after the Bruen decision and had to take a psych eval, and they told me no per the psych eval.
So you were never convicted of this domestic violence thing? It was just an allegation that ultimately went away? What were the details about this?
So, yes, I was never convicted. And the long story short, because I do want to seal the record, because it'll have been a year in March on a misdemeanor. In the state of California, statute of limitations before you can seal misdemeanors is 1 year. And I'm ongoing the lawsuit. So I'll just, without getting too specific, I lived with my son's mother previously, and we shared a leasing agreement, and we were on our way out to separate. And I came home on a Friday to see my son, because we live together, and we have a custody agreement. Our custody agreement is I get him Monday, Tuesday. She gets him Wednesday through Sunday, but it's kind of null and void, so to speak, due to the fact we live together. She didn't like the fact that I embraced my son on a Friday morning when it wasn't my day. And that's how things started. And, well, I left, but because she called the police and I didn't, I go to the police station to give my side of the story after they contacted me, and they put me in cuffs and booked me. Bailed myself out, got a lawyer, and the case was rejected on the following Monday. I didn't even have a court date. But I lost all my firearms, and I lost my concealed weapons permit within a weekend.
Yeah, I heard that's a really big problem in a lot of states. A lot of states take it if there's a domestic, someone needs to get arrested. And most of the time it's the person that didn't call, which is unfortunate. It's just a mess. But we won't get into that because that's not what we're here about today. So essentially, with the Bruen, there is no reason why you can't have a CCW. The Bruen decision was very clear on what is and is not acceptable. They should have no problems giving it to you. Like it's supposed to be like everyone gets one. So what exactly are you doing legally?
So that happened in March of last year. And I got my permit through the Orange County Sheriff's Department in January. And then I let the time go by because they issued a emergency restraining order, a temporary emergency restraining order. And that's part of what got my firearms taken is the prohibited person thing. Let that go by, and then I reapplied, like anybody would. Anybody that has a process and lives in a state where they have to have that process where they have to apply for a permit, they're going to just reapply, which is what I did. After Bruen, that's when I got denied. So I looked up all these different gun organizations that are out there, Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, and they're all silent. I emailed them, I called them, I didn't get nobody calling me back. So I looked on the Firearms Policy Coalition website after I watched a couple of Reno May videos.
I'm going to close my window because the dogs are barking. The ATF must be investigating next door.
Because I saw there was a couple cases out of California, and I found an attorney on there, contacted that attorney after reading the case notes on whatever I clicked on and hired him. So he's representing me, and he's served the Orange County Sheriff's Department, and now I'm just waiting. They have 40 days to reply. They requested a 2-week extension. We agreed to the 2-week extension, and what I assume is the Orange County District Attorney, who represents the Orange County Sheriff's Department, probably wants to review this informally, which means I'm pretty sure they want to keep doing psych evals and sweep it under the rug. That's my opinion, but I don't know.
So now, if they come back and after their, what would you call it, a grace period, extension. So if they come back after their extension and they want to add more stuff on, are you going to play along and just do what they want? Or is that where you're going to try to like move it up through the court system from there? Or what does your lawyer recommend you do?
Well, we haven't gotten that far yet, because I know my lawyer says that they want to play ball a little bit. You know, if they want to have extensions, let them have the extension. And, you know, just general lawyer manners with each other. You know how attorneys are. They like to be best friends and stuff. So my goal is to get my permit, and I think I can get it either way due to the Bruen decision. But do I want to wait years and go through the Supreme Court? And does the Orange County Sheriff's Department and the Orange County District Attorney want to drag their name through the mud? I don't know. So that's why I think my lawyer says they want to do it informally and just go from there.
So essentially, if they give it to you, you know, case closed, nothing to worry about. But if they don't, then you're planning on suing, or?
Well, it's a writ of mandate. It's already a lawsuit. I've served the Orange County Sheriff's Department. But if they want to handle this before trial, great. If not, yeah, I'm gonna appeal to the appellate court and then go from there. So I'll take it all the way up. I'm prepared to do that.
Now, I'm assuming there's a bunch of other people that live in Orange County that went through a similar thing as you, because usually it's not an isolated incident. Usually when somebody's oppressing people of their rights, it's usually like it's been going on for a while and there's several people. If you guys would like to contact the lawyer, and if you live in Orange County or maybe even similar counties, California probably in general might be a good idea there. So anyway, how long did you have your CCW before they took it away from you?
So I had a Riverside County CCW from 2019 to 2021, and those permits last 2 years. That's the standard in this state for each county that I'm aware of. I know they have special ones for judges and stuff, but for regular Joe Schmo like me, 2 years. I moved to Orange County, had to do a whole new application because I moved to a different county, and I got approved. And then I got approved and got that issued to me last year in January in 2022. And then I only had the permit a month and a half before that whole thing happened. And then they denied me for the trying again. So.
Now, you were saying you were in the military. Do they do psych evaluations there? Did you have any problems? I mean, because in the military, you're handling explosives, armored vehicles, full autos. So I'm assuming they would have a much more stringent psych evaluation. Did you have any issues there? Were there any red flags that would make you think that you would fail this? What was it, a court-appointed psychiatrist?
It's department policy, from what I know, and it's the MMPI 3. I think it was like 375 questions, and the state of California doesn't care if you're a veteran or not. They don't care if you are a cop from another state. They don't care if you're an armed security guard from another state or a federal contractor. They want you to go through their training and their requirements. And that psych eval is the same one that police officers have to take to be a police officer. And last time I checked, I'm not trying to enforce law and be a police officer. I just want to defend myself, and I want to be able to work with that permit. You know? And so some of the red flags that I saw on that test, you know, have to do with combat, you know, because I checked the box that I'm a veteran. You know, they ask a bunch of other questions besides being a veteran outside of that psych eval. They take your traffic tickets into consideration. They take your drinking history into consideration. They take your discharge into consideration. There should be nothing that they should take into consideration unless you're, you know, as of right now, a convicted felon or, you know, as long as you're not a criminal and you're not on parole or probation or a convicted felon, then what's the problem? But unfortunately, it's not like that.
We'll circle back around because I was asking if you took a psych evaluation in the military. So essentially what you're saying is they use the fact that you served your country against you for a CCW?
Anybody that's taken a psych eval and has served their country, those questions are kind of geared against you because they're going to ask you certain questions like, have you ever thought about killing somebody? Have you ever killed somebody? Have you ever seen dead bodies or been in a combat zone? They ask those sort of questions. And so somebody that's like me who's been to Afghanistan, and has seen certain things, it feels like it's kind of geared against you. When I was in the military, there was no real psych evaluation. It's just criminal background check. And then for your clearance, they'll have an investigator sit down with you and ask you a few things. But it was nothing as in-depth as applying for a concealed weapons permit in the state of California.
So essentially, the military is like, hey, here's, military grade equipment with our, basically just to make sure you're not crazy and you're not going to start shooting your own people. It's harder to get a CCW in California than it is to operate a tank or a machine gun or an explosive in the military. And then they took your military service and actually they're using it against you. Like, why is there a question on there, have you seen a dead body? That's kind of irrelevant. So if you've been in an active combat zone, they're essentially saying that we don't trust you with a gun. So what they're saying, and like what it all boils down to, is we don't want veterans to have a gun. That's really strange. I can't believe they would do something like that.
Well, they're not actively saying that, but you might as well crumple up your DD-214 and throw it in the trash because it doesn't mean anything. In my opinion, yeah, they want to verify everything about you. Whereas from what I can remember, when I went to my recruiter's offices, if you have a criminal background, yes, okay, well, go to the courthouse, get the documents, we'll write you a waiver, and they just, depending on what it is, and depending on the year that you went in, and then pass the ASVAB. That's pretty much it. As long as you didn't have any crazy medical issues or criminal charges. I mean, yeah, they let in just about anybody. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be veterans watching this kind of laughing like, yeah, in the Iraq surge, I'm pretty sure they were letting felons in back then. I don't know. Don't quote me because I wasn't in 2001. I was in 5th grade,
Well, I hope this all pans out for you. Like, it's just crazy. Like, why couldn't you have a firearm? That makes no sense. If you're safe enough, like literally safe enough to be trusted, with cars, chemicals at the drugstore you could mix together, like really dangerous things that have a much higher kill rate than firearms. Why are you on the street if you're not safe enough for that stuff? And if you're on the street, then why aren't you safe enough to have a firearm? That it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I already have a state permit to carry a firearm as a security officer. Okay, and then in the state of California, you have to pass this little card test to get. It's like a firearms certification to buy a gun. I have one of those. That's still valid, and I had a CCW previously. And I've served my country. All those add up, and it just seems like it's a really bad decision to deny me. And I don't think it was Don Barnes, the sheriff himself. I'm pretty sure he's busy and there's a bunch of things he doesn't know about that's going on in an entire department. It's really the head of CCW, their CCW unit that has more of the hands-on issue with you. And they talk to everybody, down at that unit. So I'm pretty sure if this comes across his desk and he sees all of the different exhibits in the case, okay, maybe we messed up, and they might give it to me. That's what I'm counting on. But we'll see if they want to play, hard. I guess we'll play it the hard way. Post Bruen, if you're feeling your rights are violated, your Second Amendment rights are violated, you need to challenge it, 100%. Whether it's the sheriff's department, local police. Because in California, we have so many penal codes and laws here that protect law enforcement, that protect courts, the government. If you're law enforcement and you're watching this and you're in the state of California, I think you need to really listen to what a lot of people like myself are saying and really think if a career in law enforcement is really for you. I'm not somebody that is anti-police. You know, I feel like we need some sort of law enforcement. So don't think that of me, you know? But if you're violating people's rights, you really need to think about your oath. I took an oath. Think about the oath you took. And if that's something you really want to do, you know, because I thought about being law enforcement a few years ago. And I changed my mind. I can't do it. And now everything that I'm seeing now, it really makes me second guess a lot of stuff. So really, please pay attention if you are law enforcement in the state of California watching this.
Oh, I totally agree. And I understand kind of the purpose of qualified immunity. Well, like, I understand they can't be harassed all the time because they have a job to do. However, like in your particular case where your rights are being oppressed for more or less no other reason, especially post Bruen, I feel like you should have some sort of recourse. Like they shouldn't be protected by qualified immunity. Again, like I understand there is a time and a place, kind of like college for things, but I wish there was something more we could do. It feels so useless because somebody goes after you wrongfully, you can't sue them, you can't fight back. They typically prevent any sort of recourse whatsoever, so you're under their thumb. And I just, such a sensitive subject to me. I just wish they would, you know, acknowledge like, hey, you know, I'm doing this, or I see somebody doing this. Is that right or wrong? Should this be done in the first place? Appreciate you guys watching the video. I know a lot of you guys have stories like this out there. I try to get to as many as possible. Anyway, if you'd like to help support the channel, you could donate directly on my Patreon. Otherwise, go to my Shopify, onlytacticalfans.com. There's no inventory on there right now, but there will be soon because you guys are savages and bought it all out like the day I launched it. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.